Welcome to another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today, I am so excited to have on a 34-year-old from Moncton, New Brunswick. His hockey journey has taken him to Canada, France, England, Denmark, Wales, Italy, and Scotland. He is an EIHL first team All-Star with 43 goals one year, folks. An EIHL Challenge Cup champion and league champion. He had 145 goals in 267 games played. That's quite a few. Welcome to the podcast. Oh, no, and he's a director of hockey operations now. That's a pretty big deal. Welcome to the podcast, Guillaume Doucet.
Thanks, Wally. Wow, nice intro. Did you take like a little British accent there?
No. I was just going.
Okay.
Why is my email coming through? I took the day off today, folks. I am not working. I'm going to go golfing with the kids after this. So thanks for doing this, man. I know you're a busy guy.
Yeah, no, but nice. It's nice to chat. Take some time off and chat.
Yeah, and it looks like you have a daughter, but we'll get into that now with your lovely background there. But is how we know each other, which would be the 2015-16 Devil season is where we would have been teammates, but I was basically hurt the whole year. Yeah. And then what else do I got here? Todd Kelman mentioned you were kind of in charge of the bubble there in the UK and said you did a very good job.
Well, I was in charge of the Panthers. He was actually the big boss for the whole bubble. He did a great job, and shout out to Todd for that. I did a decent job with my guys, making sure they didn't do anything stupid. But all the pressure and the responsibilities were on Todd. That's for sure.
Well, I guess I never put that on my opening, but you now are a director of hockey operations, and you just won a trophy.
Yeah, we did.
That would have been the 4-team bubble, right?
That was the 14 bubble, the 5 weeks mini series. It was actually a really I'm really glad we did that for many reasons, but for my sake, it was like a season in 2 months. I basically got an experience of a season. You know, I had to recruit a team, I draft some of the Brits, get ready for a tournament in like 2-3 weeks. And yeah, we got to play a bunch of games. Not really too much thinking. So it was good for my job. My perspective was good, and for the boys to get back on the ice. I mean, we saw what GB did in the last World Championship, and I think if we didn't play, I don't think they would have done as well.
For sure. That's definitely great that guys got to make a little bit of cash through this year and got to play some hockey, because I know there's tons of guys sitting around wondering if they're still hockey players, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I did see though, speaking of that bubble, is you were wheeling and dealing, eh? You got some experience in your new gig, but you were wheeling and dealing. You traded up, just like the NHL draft. You traded up to take the best tramp stamp in hockey, Ben Bownsy.
Yeah. Yes, that's the main reason I drafted him for his tattoo.
Well, it just brings a team together, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, everybody can discuss it, and just what was he thinking that day, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So the other reason we know each other was we also went on a ski trip together, which I didn't really ski, but we went to Morzine, France, right?
Yeah. Why were you still hurt? Is that no?
Yeah, it's my knee. I couldn't do it.
I think you just didn't want to ski. No?
Oh, I like skiing. I wish I could have, but yeah. I might be able to now. I haven't tried, but no, I couldn't then. That was after the surgery, and it just never healed, right? But I did take the red saucer down the mountain. Remember that night?
Yeah, that was crazy. How did we survive that? My God.
It was all fun until I remember you guys all stopped at like one spot, and I was feeling good because I could see the bottom, and I go flying by in the red saucer, like, see you boys at the bottom, and I had no idea I was going into the mogul section.
It was, if I remember correctly, it was very, very icy, and you don't really know where you're, like, if you don't know that slope, you don't know where you're going.
No, so, I had to hold on to that guy's pole on the way down so I didn't fall off the cliff.
Yeah. That was brave of you to decide to go down. I mean, you had no choice, but...
Well, it's the only way I could go for dinner with you guys. I wasn't going to miss it. But yeah, no, I've never done anything like that in my life before or after. It probably is the craziest thing I've ever done.
Mhm. That was a pretty good evening. It's nice. I love that spot in the restaurant right in the middle of the mountain. That was nice.
It was
Nice
awesome, and
place.
you played there for 2 years. So I guess we'll get into that too, because you knew all the locals, just like Carl, which was really
Yeah,
cool to go to France and your buddies know people. It was
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
What a trip.
It was good.
Okay, so that gets us into our first thing: is where and what are you doing now? We've kind of discussed it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm the director of hockey for the Panthers now, which is a pretty good gig. I'm very grateful and happy to be able to still be in the game, and I love it. It's definitely, it was challenging at first. It's still challenging every day. I think I learn so much every day, but it's a cool gig, and I'm very happy to be in it.
Well, pretty much every hockey player in the world, that is basically like what they dream of becoming someday, right? Is running a hockey team. And how did that all fall into place? How do you go from being my teammate to then running the Nottingham Panthers?
Um, I I kind of always wanted to stay in the game, but I don't, you know me, I don't really have the personality and the maybe the character to be a head coach. I don't think that's my thing. But I felt like I could bring something to a team, and I felt like I could help a team, especially in this country, because I've been in the UK for a while now. So I thought at the time I had a good knowledge for the Brits and good knowledge for the league, what it took to maybe be successful. So yeah, I put my name out there a few, every time I spoke to someone in my network, I knew that if there was an opportunity for me to stay in the game, I would mention it and try to get something. And it came about pretty quickly. There was an opening in Nottingham with the coach that was there at the time, not keeping the coach, and they wanted to maybe divide the work, find someone that would be full time recruiting and not coaching and a coach. So I got approached. I did an interview process, and I got the job.
Well, it's awesome, man. I'm really proud of you. I think
Thank
it's
you.
incredible. I think you'd be great at it because I know you're a smart little cookie.
Mhm.
Yeah, you were very well educated, I remember. So that's awesome. You got that. Congratulations.
Thank
And
you.
you because I can see your background, and it looks like kind of like a crib over there.
Yeah.
You have a daughter?
I do. I have a 16-month-old today, actually, daughter.
16 month, you said?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And where did you have her in Nottingham?
So we live in London now. My wife works in London, and we've been in London for 3 years now. So we had her just before lockdown in February 2020.
Oh, congratulations, man. That's
Thank you.
awesome. Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah.
aren't we all grown up now, eh? Okay, so then we'll get into your minor hockey. And just because I like pronouncing some of these hockey teams' names, we're going to go through your minor hockey to
All right.
the Montreal Bourassa Angevins or the École Edouard Montpetit Predator
Wow.
or the Kanawaki Condors.
Not bad, not bad. Yeah, A+
Those
for
are some
French.
good teams. I've never heard of them.
Did you do French in high school?
I was French immersion till after grade 9. They were going to make me take history and French, and I finally convinced my mother to let me out.
You can tell now all these French hours are becoming useful, no?
Well, I don't. You're my second French guy on the show, but you're not really
Okay.
French. I don't really like. So, was your primary language growing up French then?
Hmm. Hmm.
When did you learn English so well?
Well, I'm from the Maritimes, but I moved to Montreal when I was 2, right? So my parents are French, both French speaking, but English was always part of our daily lives, right? Uncles or whatever spoke English around me. And I think through hockey, like in where I'm from in the east end of Montreal, you play with a bunch of Italians, and the coaching and stuff when I was a kid was always in English.
Okay.
So I became bilingual pretty quick, I would say. But growing up, I was definitely only speaking French.
Okay. So, what is minor hockey like around there? I know the other French guy I had on, actually, he talked about minor hockey. It was a bit different for him. That Michel Levelet I played with in Helbron,
Okay.
where they have like prep schools, right? Where I didn't do that.
Yeah, no, there's not prep school, not where I'm from. It was mostly mostly city, like, minor hockey, probably like you grew up with, just
Yeah.
going through
Play for your city or whatever. Yeah.
yeah. And then midget AAA, you had to switch and go to high school with all the boys, which I did. The couple teams you named there, that was midget AAA. You move to, like, that's where it becomes serious, and your parents have to pay a bit of money for you to play. Thanks for that, Dad. And then you move, you go to high school, and it's actually we were shit. We were awful. We probably won. I think we probably played the below 500 both years, but it's a really cool experience. That was kind of a big deal for me playing midget AAA.
Yeah. And then, so you get from there. So I'm assuming the EIHL Edouard is the school. So then you go to the Kanawaki Condors. Where's that?
Yeah. So that's junior A. In Quebec, it's called junior AAA, right? So I got drafted after my Edouard Montpetit year. I got drafted in the Q, but I didn't make the team the first year. I got, I think, maybe 10 games. I got called up for 10 games. So I played junior A as a 17-year-old, which I think I was good enough to make the team. But the coach at the time, which is now Team Canada's coach, André Tourigny, he thought that it was better for me to go play down, score some goals, get confidence. So I did that. I had a good year, and I made the team the year after.
So that's the one thing I was curious about. When you say you're just making the junior A loop at 17, you didn't go for a scholarship then. You go for you still play in the Q.
Yeah, to be honest, not that education was a big deal for me and my parents growing up, but it was not. I think because we're from Quebec, and back then there was not a ton of my friends or people I knew that were going NCAA route. And I grew up with watching the Montreal Rocket, and I grew up with the Q being the best, the best league I could go see besides the Habs. It was a big deal for me to play in the Q, and I never really even considered going to play in the States. I wanted to play in the Q, like that was the dream. So.
And were you drafted? Because you obviously don't make it till later on, a late bloomer, you could say.
Yeah, I got drafted as a 16-year-old. Same draft year as Sid. I think that's why I didn't make the team. Sid took all the no, but I got drafted really late. As a 16-year-old midget AAA, I really had a bad second half of the season. I scored probably 80% of my goals before Christmas. So then I think I kind of fell down in the draft ranking. Got drafted late. Like I said, I played a handful of games the year after, but I didn't make the team outright as a 17-year-old.
So you played for Rouyn-Noranda Huskies. Yeah. That's not where Crosby played, is it?
No.
Where did he play?
Rimouski.
Right. Yeah. I don't know the Q at all, to be honest with you. So how was Rouyn-Noranda?
It's a really cool small hockey place, but great place to play hockey, to play junior hockey. It's about a 6-7 hour drive from Montreal, so it's quite far up north. But I mean, we had the good team too. The whole time I was there, they won the Mem Cup not too long ago for the first time. So they're moving up, like not moving up, but it's definitely a franchise
has some success.
Yeah.
And I wrote all my notes are you were there for a few years and you had a 24 goal season, but then your last year in the Q, you get traded to the PEI Rockets and score 35.
Yeah.
That's quite a few, eh? 35 goals in the Q.
Yeah, that was good. I mean, that back then in the Q, some guys still scored 60. So these guys usually were drafted like not first rounders, but high draft picks in the show. For me, it was I was pretty proud of 35 goals in the Q. I did get to play with Joey Chef-Haddad that year, so that was great achievement right there, no?
Yeah, Joey Haddad is a swamp rabbit right now, eh?
Yes.
I gotta have him on. I want to have like a cook-off against him while he's on. Anyways, so you go from there. So what are the options out of you have a 35 goal season and then you decide to go to Canadian University instead of trying pro. So what's the decision there?
I had a few like offers for either tryouts or maybe coast contract. I don't even remember, but I never really even considered that. I made up my mind that I wanted to go to college. I think that's when I went to McGill, that's when like CIS, which is now U Sports, that's when it kind of became like the good players from the Q and the O, they considered going there. If you see now, like you'll get guys going to UNB or University of Alberta or McGill with like 100-point season in the Q. Like you didn't see that before my time. It was the guys that had good Q careers, they would go to the coast or get a deal in the A. I was when it became kind of okay, it became accepted, to go there, play 4 years, and then go play pro after that.
Right, and it has improved. I remember like when I first went to Western Michigan, like you'd play a exhibition game against a Canadian university, and it was just a beating. Like you'd just dominate them, and then it really started changing. Even by the end of my career at Western, I think they started to improve, and I think it's only continued because isn't there the deal like if you sign a pro contract, I think in the OHL, your school package can be gone if you wait over a year or something.
Yeah, you have a certain amount of time to use your school package. That was one thing too. I got a really good degree from McGill, all paid for, and so that was a big thing. The Q back then gave, I think they probably give more now than they gave when I played, but it was still enough to pay for tuition and pay for a little bit of extra. So it was good. It was really good.
What'd you take at McGill?
I did physical education.
That's what every hockey player would want to take.
Yeah. I at that point, I thought maybe I would get into coaching. But yeah. Didn't go.
Okay. So you play 4 years there, and I looked at the stats. I don't think they were that crazy of numbers. So how do you go from McGill then? This is when you get to the mountains of France. You go to Morzine.
Yeah. I mean, I again, like that, my mind was made up when I started my senior year that I wanted to go play in Europe. I didn't even try to get something in the coast. Like in hindsight, I probably should have take a year, go in the coast, grind it out. If I can get some stats there, it would have opened up probably some doors for me at that point. I think that was when I played my best, maybe. But I didn't care. I didn't want that. I just wanted to go in Europe and experience something different. My plan was to go to France for a year, and I'm still here.
And now you have a daughter.
Yeah.
She's gonna have an accent, right? It'll be different than your accent.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It's interesting where all the hockey players end up all over the world, and I guess that's how the podcast gets listened to in 26 countries, is because you fellows are all scattered all over the place. Okay, so Morzine though, I saw you only played like 26 games a year, so you must have been doing some skiing.
Oh yeah, lots of skiing. Those were the days when the Magnus was only one game a week. We had there was other cups during the week, like on a Wednesday, I think, if I remember correctly. I don't even remember. Maybe Tuesday you had League Cup game. But for most of the year, yeah, you played on Saturdays at home or on the road, and that was it. So Sundays were skiing in the winter.
So if you had a bad game, you'd have to wait a whole week to redeem yourself, eh?
Yes. And that is a great point. I hated that. Because back then, my first couple of years pro, like if I wanted to move up and get a contract, you need to produce. So you have a couple of games where you have nothing, no.
And then all of a sudden that's like a month, right? Like you play 3 games and that's like, it almost takes up a month of the season. And you're like, Jesus, I didn't get 8 points in the last 3 games. Like that's like November.
And then you get a hat trick on the Wednesday game. That's not on Elite Prospects. It's on the little tournament statistics at the bottom. Used to drive me nuts.
Oh yeah, those. I remember when we went to Cardiff, like they counted all the games together, and I think I was like 4th in the league in scoring. And then all of a sudden they separated it all, and I guess all my points were in the Challenge Cup. And then all of a sudden I'm not in the top 5. I'm like, well, that doesn't hurt anymore when you're done and retired. Thanks.
No, but I know what you mean, because my year in Hull, in the intro there, you said I scored 43, but back then I scored 50. But then they split the Challenge Cup and the league, and then
you actually got 50 in a season.
Yeah, I got 50 that year. Yeah.
And now it says 43.
Yeah.
That just isn't right. 50 goals in a season's really cool. I never did that. That's wild. Actually, I guess junior B, but not in like real hockey. You were doing it in pro.
Yeah, back then. Yeah.
Jeez,
And
the Hull Stingrays, you must have just been sniping. So you're in Morzine, you do pretty well. You have like about a point a game for your 26 games. You guys probably aren't that good. I don't think they're a big budget team, right? But what a spot to live, eh? Like, my
yeah,
goodness, you lived there for 2 years. I hardly could last a weekend.
yeah, it was amazing. And after my first year, it was like an easy call to when they said, "Do you want to stay?" I said, "Yeah, just give me a little bit more money and I'll stay for sure." It was amazing. We made so many good friends there. Like I still talk to people from Morzine. I try, like with the pandemic, I haven't been to Morzine in a while, but usually I try to go once a year. It's a great place to live. The people are amazing. The food is amazing. Back then, like we were not a big budget, but we were decent. I think I would say we finished middle of the pack, maybe top 5 or 6 on 14 both of my years. Like, we were not we were competitive at least. We made playoffs. We won a couple, maybe a round each year. It was not like it was great. Seriously, I enjoyed every minute of it.
Well, the reason why I was so curious when we went there and went skiing there was my last year in Cardiff. Before that, when I had my good year and doing the MBA, I had an offer to go to Morzine, and the decision was stay in Cardiff for my last year of hockey or go live in the Alps and ski. And yeah, we decided to stay in Cardiff, but I was always curious what it was like there because my goodness, what a spot that is.
Seriously, it's a beautiful place. Beautiful.
Like the best, like nicest place on earth, maybe, right? Like it's up there.
Yeah, I mean, for me, because of my friends and the way I know, it's definitely my favorite spot to go ski and favorite spot in the Alps for sure.
Oh yeah. Okay. Better stop talking about it. I'm getting all wound up. Okay. So after those 2 years is when you go to the Hull Stingrays, and that is when you really come into your own. And like, who is setting you up for 50 goals that year?
I played a lot with Carl Lauzon, another French guy.
Yeah, he's
Really
a skilled left-handed shot centerman. Yeah, I remember
yeah.
him.
Yeah, when we played together in Cardiff, I think he was in Cov. And then I played with Matty Davies, great playmaker. Jeremy Tendler. We had a few guys that really like it just clicked.
High-end offense, eh?
Yeah, and it just clicked, and I had a lot of freedom. I think I finished a year with. I played a bunch of the season with Matty and Tens, and then I finished a year with Lauzon and Klutz. Sylvain Cloutier, player coach, was on my line, and it was awesome.
Yeah, man, you must have really been feeling her to score 50 in that league. Like that's
Yeah.
a lot of goals.
It
Why?
is, yeah.
Oh man, my email keeps popping up. I took the day off. I don't know what I thought I X'd that. It keeps coming through, but this is a day off for me, Deuce.
Enjoy it.
I am. I'm gonna go golfing right after this with the kids. It's gonna be a day. I love it. Okay, so the Hull Stingrays, you rip it up. You guys are, the lower budget team in the league, right? So then basically you do that to go elsewhere, usually, right?
Yeah, well, I went there to do my MBA, which I did, which was great. I had a good season on the ice, but to get my degree, I didn't actually do an MBA. I did an MSc in business administration because my the university in Hull is quite strict on admission, and I didn't qualify for the MBA because I didn't have enough working experience. So I did an MSc, but
what's an MSc?
A Master of Science in Business. But yeah, I'm pretty. I mean, I was at the time I was a bit. I wasn't sure if that was the right thing, but looking back, it was a great degree, and I learned a lot, and I've used it today. So
I didn't realize the Hull Stingrays had the school package there. I wouldn't have guessed that team did that, but I knew you went to school there. I knew you were very educated. So that's good that you did that. Like I think the opportunities the UK has for hockey players is it's a complete game changer for like guys like us that realistically we never got a big payday. And you're going to be leaving hockey and you're going to need to work right away.
Yeah, exactly.
And the school packages over there, they're game changers. And I think any player that gets the offer needs to jump at it.
Yeah. It's definitely a different season. You did it, it's a lot of work, and you probably don't have the same experience as you would have if you didn't go to school, but it's worth the sacrifice, I would say. every team in the league use the school package differently. We in Nottingham are very we don't have a ton, so I have to be very selective in who I offer the school package to. But it's for sure a great recruiting tool.
Yeah, no, I know all about your school package and who may or may not be going there, Deuce, but I won't say a word. I'm just a podcaster now. I'm not going to spill the beans about anything, but I know who might be. I mean, I think I got ideas of who might be in your school package. Moving on. Yeah, so you do go from Hull to the Herlo, I think is how they say it, but it's Herlev Eagles, which that's in like Copenhagen, Denmark, right?
Yeah, right in Copenhagen.
Yeah, I played against them. Crappy barn, no fans, awful.
Absolutely. But
so
great.
You didn't have fun there. Eh? Yeah, but Copenhagen's awesome, right?
Copenhagen is awesome. I mean, I met my wife there, so it's always going to be great memories. It was a tough year for me personally. We I don't know. My game didn't really fit in Denmark. And I think when they recruited me, they probably expected a different player. I learned that now that I'm on the other side. I'm the one recruiting. Like, I know that you can't really just look at the resume and think that guy's going to come here and do that, because he played with me. I'm not going to take the puck from behind the net and break out on the PP. No, I don't want to do that.
But that's what I want to do, and that's. Yeah. I think the plan was for us to play a little bit together, and you were going to be the shooter in the slot, and it just never happened. It's like you'd see the guys sign in Europe that had huge years in the coast, and they're all like, this guy's going to come over here and he's going to score 40 here like he did in the coast. And it's like, well, the guy gets over there and he's your stand in front of the net, bad skater on a power play that tips in a lot of goals, and you're like, well, you suck in Europe.
Yeah, not everybody's numbers in the coast are just going to translate directly to Europe. Some guys do have a lot of success. I mean, there's a bunch of examples of guys that should have probably played in the A, but they were not good enough to be a top 6 player in the A, and they come to Europe and they light it up. But there's a bunch of examples of what you just said, 50, 60 points in the coast. You think, wow, this guy's going to be good, but
yeah, it doesn't translate. And for me, this is just me being the Joe Rogan, a hockey podcast here, is like every league plays differently. The Danish league was tall, skinny guys that were really fast. And there wasn't really a lot of like give and going and stuff of that nature. And then you get to Germany, they're very systems oriented. They listen to everything their coach says, even if it makes absolutely no sense. And then you go to the UK, which it was more North American. It was more like playing in the coast, and it does translate more than those other leagues. And I know what you mean by going to Denmark and it not translating, because I had to adjust to every league I went to based on what the hockey was like. And it was fun to go to the UK at the end of my career, because I hadn't played in a league with like fighting and like big hitting and like just the like boys being boys again. And I really enjoyed it at the end to get back into mucking it up a bit.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Your description there, I think, is spot on. And credit to you if you were able to adjust and have success in all of these different leagues. I think it's not a given for everyone. Definitely, it was not for me. I was pretty maybe unidimensional when it came to my game.
Yeah, I that is one thing I had to do, was adjust based off of if I was playing with a shooter. If I was playing with you, I would play differently than if I was playing with Joey Martin, because like he wants to carry it up the ice. You want to shoot it right around the net, and you're going to go top cheese. And yeah, it's just, you got to adapt with who you're with, right? And so anyways, you get out of there, and then you get back to the UK and you go to Nottingham, your place now that you work. You were there as a player and scored 16 goals in 23 games to end that year.
Yeah, it was a good fine. Like, I was happy that I got a good ending to a hard season that year. And that's probably why I'm in this job right now, because I went to Nottingham, got to meet people, got my name out there. So it was very positive also to end up there.
Well, yeah, and that's a good organization. Like Yeah, Nottingham is one of those organizations that it's kind of like Cardiff. Like they're the big arena that you guys do have some money, and you're going to recruit high end players now. And that league has gotten so much better. It's like, I'm thankful I got my MBA when I did, because now I don't think Cardiff's getting a guy out of the Danish league for the MBA anymore.
Yeah, no, the level definitely improved. I think it's still we still have some work to do in terms of reputation. I noticed that a lot. We talk to some guys and they just think, "Wow, I'm way too young to go to the English league. Why would I come to the English league?" But it's not what it used to be. I'm trying to, use examples of guys that are still moving up. Just our friend Joey Martin, like he played for how many years in Cardiff? 6, and he still moved up because he wanted to. Like,
Yeah, and he could have any time, I assume. He just
yeah,
loved it there, right? And it's
exactly.
yeah. Actually, it's like when I went to Europe, I never would have crossed my mind to go to the UK League. I thought to be honest, what I had heard of the fighting, and you see some of the YouTube clips, and you're like, why would I want to play there? And then the league improved. It wasn't just about fighting, and now it's as good a hockey as anywhere, and that's why they're in the challenge or the Champions Hockey League, and they're competing with all the best teams in Europe, because like that league is that good now. And just because you go to the UK League, you can go to all these other leagues because now it does have a better reputation, right?
Yeah, no, definitely, it's definitely improving. I think the fact that the likes of Nottingham and Cardiff did so well in the Champions League, like you said, in the last few years, Belfast too, a couple of years ago, that helped with their reputation for sure. Um, there's still some room for improvement. I think I would like to be able to be in a position where guys are asking, what can I do to come play for you, instead of me trying to convince somebody from the coast or somebody from whatever league that this is a good opportunity, you should think about it seriously. But it's going to come.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It's weird, like with Cardiff, of what their reputation is, and Nottingham's very similar. Is like, I have guys reach out to me now just because I know everybody in Cardiff, and like there's a lot of players that want to go to Cardiff now, like
Yeah.
just based off of what they hear, and then it's reaching out to me like, will you ask them this? And I'm like, well, I mean, I'm just a podcaster. So anyways, you go from Nottingham with the Panthers for just, part of a season, and you were scoring a ton. And I remember Lordo trying to get you, and like you and Salters, when he got the two of you, he was so jacked up. It was like he was just beside himself. And like when you looked at our team on paper, yeah, that team wasn't it.
Yeah,
We should have won, but I guess
we
I
should.
never played.
Yeah, you didn't play. We had a bad slump at the worst time possible in
Yeah.
February, I think.
It was
We
right
got
near the end. We were up by quite a bit, and then just all of a sudden, just for a few weeks there, we went rotten.
Yeah. I don't know. Definitely that year we should have won. We should have won. But you see it in the NHL these days. Sometimes it takes a couple tough year, a couple kind of hard lessons for the group to grow and become better. And I think that's why we won the year after, and that's why they won the year after that, because
Yeah.
we had a couple of years where we. Too bad for you because you weren't there, but.
Well, it's great because now I can have a podcast, because all you guys did was kept winning. So now I can have all these guys on, and then my openings are way better because everybody kept winning.
Yeah, true.
So you stayed there another year after I'm done. So you were there for 2 years in Cardiff, eh?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, great.
Why did you end up leaving then after 2 years?
That second year there in Cardiff, I mean, we won. It was a great experience. I mean, we had a good team. I just felt selfishly, I felt like I wanted to play more. I got a healthy scratch a few times that year for the first time in my career, and that was hard to take at that point. And I felt like, I don't have a ton of years left in me, and I want to win, but I also want to be in a position where I feel like I can contribute to the team's success a bit more. I felt like it was hard for me personally to accept that I was not good enough to play, not good enough to be on the PPG.
To get the ice time you think you should get, and do what you've always gotten. When I went to Cardiff, man, the first couple months there, and they had me on the third line, and like second power play, and it's like, what? This is not how I thought this was going to go. But I
Yeah.
was at the end, and then I remember there was a game that first year where I had been sitting on the bench for quite some time, and I'm sitting there going, geez, I'm doing my MBA. This could be it. Like, this could be my last year of hockey, and I'm sitting on the bench in the EIHL. And I remember from that day on, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to have fun. If this is it, I'm going to have fun. I'm going to do spin-a-roonies. I'm going to put it between my legs. I'm going to run people. I'll do, I'm just going to go out there and have fun. And I changed my attitude was when everything turned around in Cardiff, actually. But it's hard when you're not that old. Like, I knew I was done, right? When you want to keep playing for a few years, you can't be healthy scratched in the EIHL. You can't. You got to get out of there if that happens.
Yeah, well, I mean, in hindsight, like maybe my attitude was not the best at that point. Now that I'm older and I see the other side of things, it's a bit, I see it maybe a bit differently. But yeah, my pride definitely took a hit there. It is what it is. I mean, do I regret leaving Cardiff? Not really. I had a good time in Milton Keynes. I met different people. Well, so yeah, it is what it is. It's definitely a tough decision, like you said, when you're at a cross point in your career and you still want to play, but you kind of have to find a way to maybe prove yourself again.
Yeah. It's like when I was one of the top dogs in the second league in Germany for years, and then all of a sudden nobody wants you, and you're like, it's a real, shot of reality.
yeah, for sure.
So anyways, after Cardiff, you go to Milton Keynes Lightning, and you also go with one of the pod's favorite people, Carl Hudson.
Yes.
Any Carl's? Actually, I wanted to bring up, because this is two ales and hockey tales. We got to tell a tale today.
Mm-hmm.
It was you knew the guy that ran the Manchester Storm, which you knew all the guys. You were a very good networker. You were friends with everybody. And I was like, how does he know this coach? And how does he know that GM? And we were standing at the Manchester Arena, and you told their GM what I was doing there, right? Do you remember that?
No.
I was doing my Viking pregame speech, and I remember I hid in the bathroom, and you were telling their GM, like, after the game, like, you should have seen what this guy did before the game. I just remember their GM hearing like what I did, and he was just floored. He's like, "Are you serious?"
Okay, yeah. Now I remember. Yeah, I mean, that was a story to tell. You can't keep that secret.
Well, so folks, this is what I did. It was the last weekend of the season, and we had to win both games, and we needed Sheffield to lose a game, or Nottingham, or somebody. And we need both of them to lose or something. I forget what needed to happen, but we needed to win both games. So I took the fan bus all the way to Manchester, dressed as a Viking, covered in dirt, with an axe and a shield and a sword. And I sat in the bathroom with the door locked and drank a beer. Then I ran out of beer because somebody broke the glass during warm-ups, and I sat there naked on the toilet for, had to have been over an hour. I sat there covered in dirt. Dees had rubbed on me, and my beer was gone after the first 10, 15 minutes because I didn't think I'd be in there so long. And then I literally sat there naked in the toilet in Manchester, in one of the worst arenas around. Well, it's a great arena. Who am I kidding? But then, like, you guys go back out for a second warm up when they fix the glass. Dees opens the door. He's like, "Man, are you okay?" I'm like, I really am, like, second guessing why I'm here and what I'm doing with my life. But then I did do the pregame speech, and you guys did win that game, so I guess it was all worth it, right?
Did you not scare somebody really hard when you came out?
Yeah. I think I broke the axe in half, and I got in Richie's face, right? And I smashed the axe in half on the floor, and I was covered in dirt and screaming like a Viking, and I got in Richie's face pretty hard there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Strange year, strange times. But you were still a hockey player, so you go to Milton Keynes and you do well, and you play with Carl. So how's that year?
I was good. I mean, Milton Keynes, it's too bad they're not around anymore. I think it was a good place to play, especially, location-wise, so close to London. We had a really good start. We had a good team. Ran into injury troubles, like the kind of team at that point where we didn't have much depth, and a couple D go down. one of our D left to go back home. Like it was just we never really recovered, and we end up losing a bunch of games in a row around Christmas time, I think. And yeah, it was disappointing the way that season finished. But I enjoyed my time in Milton Keynes. Great place to play. Good fans. The fan base there is amazing. They should have an elite league team for sure.
So yeah, they were only in the league for like a year or two, right? And
then I think two, yeah. Only two.
Yeah, I never played against them or know the rink or anything, so it's hard for me to really. You know what? We've gone through a lot today, and I forgot to mention my sponsors, which, because you're making me do this so early, I have not had a Bayfield Brewing Company beer yet, but this will be a Navigating Lieutenant, folks, and also stayinblue.ca. Now that the lockdown's ending, Deuce, if you ever end up in Canada with your Danish wife, your English baby, and you as a French Canadian, if you guys ever make it back in the Collingwood, Blue Mountain area, if you go to stayinblue.ca, put in Wally 20 on a minimum 3-night stay, you get 20% off, folks. So I don't know why you'd pay full price to go golfing or go on bachelor parties. Just use Wally 20 and 20% off at stayinblue.ca, folks. So there you go, Deuce. That's my sponsorship reads for the 5th episode in 7 days. And I'm sure Bayfield didn't know who they were sponsoring and that I might end up doing 5 in 7 days just to try and be number one. So sorry for the amount of beers I put back last week, folks, but you got to be competitive, right, Deuce?
You do. You're doing a great job, Wally.
Well, you got to flood the market if, Chicklets puts out 1 and they have the same amount of listeners as I have in 5 episodes. We'll see what happens. I did the best I could. I'll be able to sleep this week either way, folks, and I might take a break now. Okay, so you were in Milton Keynes. You have a pretty good year. Do you have any Carl Hudson stories, like a funny one? Do you got one on the top of your head, or no? We can move on if not.
The funny Carl stories are mostly from Cardiff, I think.
Yeah. Was he really acting like Carl in Milton Keynes, or was he trying to be like a real pro?
The real Carl came out a few times for sure.
Perfect.
Ali, his wife, did not get pregnant until like the last weekend of the season, I think. So he was pretty much the old Carl until the last weekend of the season.
Now he's a dad, eh?
Yeah, now he's a 2-time dad, like you.
Oh yeah, everybody's lives are changing.
Yeah, but no, a Milton Keynes Carl story, nothing jumps out.
Okay. You never know what stories are going to be told, you never know. You got to ask. So you're in Milton Keynes. So then I didn't look at the points. Did you have a good year?
Yeah, decent. I mean, good enough to find another job, good enough to keep playing. I mean, we as a team, we didn't do so well, so that was hard. But yeah, I think I had a decent season.
Okay. So then, actually, this is one I want to ask about. Then, as you go from Milton Keynes to the Milano Rosso Blu, so you go and live in Milan, Italy.
Yeah, with one of my best friends. We went together as a package deal. One of my buddies that I played with at McGill, Francis Veropol, I played with in Milton Keynes too.
What was his name?
Veropol, his last name.
I don't know him.
Yeah, I played at McGill, and then I brought him to Milton Keynes. He did his MBA there, and then the year after, out of the blue, this agent says, "Hey, are you open to go to Milano?" And I said, "Yeah, if you take my buddy, I'll go for sure." And my wife was working, super busy with work in London, and I said, "Yeah, I don't know how many chances I'm gonna get to go play in Italy." So I jumped on it. It was a crazy time. We had an awful team, and they came to us at Christmas, December 1st, I think. We get a phone call from the coach, and we knew times were tough, and we're not winning. We knew something was happening. We heard maybe they're gonna have to release one of the importees, try to make some room there and find somebody else. But we just get a phone call, and they say, "Hey, we ran out of money. We're gonna release all the imports. See ya." So we're all of a sudden, December 1st, they all said, we can't keep you unless you want to play for free. So that didn't end as expected. My parents, my sister had booked Christmas holidays in Italy. Everything was booked, the Airbnb. All of a sudden, I'm not in Italy anymore. But Part of the game.
It is part of the game, but like that sucks. And like when you go to Europe and you hear some of the stories of teams just going bankrupt, and you know, it's hard because you hear about
Yeah.
living in Milan. You want to live in Milan, but then realistically, I have never heard good things about a hockey organization in Milan.
No, no. You know what? I think they were a good team at some points, maybe early 2000. I think they were doing decent. And the year we went there was the first year they moved up to the Alps League, and I think they had good intention, good plans. What happened? I mean, we'll never know if that was the whole truth. But what happened was in August when we show up, the ice is awful, like puddles and holes and like rust coming out of under like it was you barely could skate and practice on that ice. So it took a while. We had to go practice somewhere else for the first couple of weeks of camp, and then we came back. And what they did was they put, when you go in a mall and there's a skating rink in a mall indoors, they
Yep.
put that system on top of the ice. So they had to raise the boards a couple inches, and they put that system
On top of
on
the
top
normal
of
ice.
the ice, and then whatever you need big generators and big machines to make this run. Like they build it, that was outside in the parking lot, and they built like a temporary roof, temporary box over the plant, and they just froze on top of the plant basically. But that cost crazy money, and it was 40 degrees in Milan in August, September, even October is still warm. So it probably cost so much money to keep running. So
No
in
idea
December,
how they ran out of money, eh?
December they were like, we're done. And the ice was, even with that, the ice was crap anyways. But yeah.
So what was the lifestyle though before that, like outside of hockey? What was it like living in Milan?
Yeah, Milan is amazing. We lived a little bit outside of town. That was just a bit too far to really kind of be in town and enjoy it. But the rink was quite downtown.
So
Uh,
you're having to drive to get to downtown. You're not biking or walking.
no, no, but still, like the metro system and the bus system is good. It's a big city, right? So you could get to wherever you want to go on a day off or after practice if you want to. But just we ate so well, and the restaurants and the terrace, the patio to get a coffee or beer, a drink are amazing. The Alps League is probably getting better, but back then it was, especially in Milano, it was not that serious. We could still enjoy life, and so yeah, it was, Milano is special city.
That league seems like a cool one, the Alps League, where
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
literally a bunch of great cities that, and I don't know what the hockey's like. It doesn't seem like it's that hard. So, um,
No, no, yeah, it's getting better, but
yeah, well, it sucks when your team's not good though. Like it's hard. It's like food doesn't taste as good. Everything's not as fun when you're losing. Like it doesn't matter if you're living in Milan. It doesn't matter if you're living in Milton Keynes, wherever you are. When you lose, it sucks.
yeah. But when you're in it, you probably would say the same thing. Like when you're in it, you don't. I never thought we were going to be dead last. Like you have a couple bad games, you start slow. You're like, okay, well, we'll pick it up here. We'll be okay. We'll win 5 in a row. We'll be back in the middle of the pack. But it just never happens. And after a while, you realize, okay, well, maybe we're not that good. But when you're in it, I never thought like, okay, this is awful. We're going to finish dead last. I never thought that.
Yeah, for me, but the times I went through, it was like I went to Bietigheim and we were great, and then the budget goes down, and we're basically signing a team knowing we're not going to be good. But then, like, you try to mentally prepare to not be good, but then, like, for us hockey players, your pride and everything about it's like, well, I was the first line player last year and we're good. I'm the first line player this year. So like it's you feel like it's on you, right? And
Yeah.
it's taxing mentally. It was for me. Any time my teams were losing, it was definitely the downest I've ever been in my life. And I
No, for sure.
realize that now being out of the game, you know.
Yeah, no, for sure. You're right. It takes a toll. It takes a toll on you mentally, for sure.
Okay, so then you do you're playing there. They go bankrupt, but you do end up getting a job and you go
Yeah,
to the Glasgow clan, or were they the Brayhead clan then?
they were the Glasgow clan, the clan, the first year of the clan. Yeah,
Well,
the
that arena, that city, like when we would go play there with Cardiff, I was like, wow, what a setup these guys got. Like that's a great place to play hockey too, isn't it?
no, it was nice. Yeah, awesome. I got welcomed there like with open arms, and we went on a winning streak when I showed up. So it was fun. It was the same coach. It was Pete Russell that coached me in Milton Keynes the year before that was there. So I was very familiar with the coaching. I didn't know anybody personally on the team, but I played against a bunch of these guys over the years. So it was an really easy transition for sure.
So then you do that year, and you do well. I saw you were like a point a game. So how do you go from getting a point a game and to deciding to shut it down?
It was just too good of an opportunity to pass up.
So you were putting your name in, and you're like, well, if I don't get it, I'll play again.
Oh yeah, for sure. I got the job pretty early. I don't remember correctly, but I probably got the job in April. Started working in the role I'm at in May. So I mean, at that point in April, it was still early. If that didn't work out for some reason, I would have tried to get something else, maybe in the league, whatever it might have been. But if not, I could have played. I thought I had a decent season, like you said. I could have probably played the year after for sure.
Oh, you could have played more than that. You could still be playing. Look at you. Jeez.
Yeah.
You don't even have the dad bod yet, eh?
No, more than you think. More than you think.
No, maybe I just can't tell, but you look great.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, once your kids are like 8 and 6, you really settle into the dad bod. It's weird. I feel like more of a dad every day, where it's like you're just so daddish. Ugh, it's fun to come out here and get to be Wally for an hour or two every other day. Or you know what, folks, if this doesn't work and I'm not number one this week doing 5 and 7 days, I will be able to sleep because I've done everything I could this week. But realistically, if I got to put out 14 in 7 days, I'm going to get to number one. I don't care what I got to do. Everybody go fuck themselves. Right, Deuce? I don't have issues, right? I don't have any competitive issues at all.
No. Do what you got to do.
Exactly. And you know what? This makes me so happy getting to catch up with you and see where your life's taking you and what you're doing. It's awesome, man. And like, I miss my buddies. I miss talking to you guys. And like for you, you're a very lucky guy. You're still in the game.
Absolutely. I realize that now, not only talking to you, but just talking to other of my buddies that are retiring and leaving Europe and going back home. And it goes back to your question there. Why did I jump on? Why did I not play anymore? Because I knew like it still hurts. You're gonna say the same thing. It still hurts not to play. I miss it every day. I go to the rink. I went to the rink every day for this mini series, and it was so hard not to play. I mean, I want to be out there and skate.
And you still could. I can't. You could.
Yeah, I mean, I could. I was out there every morning, skate every time I could. Every time there was an optional practice, I'm on there, just because I miss it. But I mean, that's why I took this job, because I get to still be part of the game. I still get to watch hockey, be around hockey, talk to guys. It's the best job in the world for sure.
Yeah, and it's just funny because I just thought of this in the UK league. There's player coaches. I've heard of GM players, but I've never heard of a director of hockey player. Yeah. maybe you could be the first one ever. Maybe at some point Nottingham will need you to lace them up for like the last game of the year, just so we could say we could pod about it. Okay.
I think this ship has sailed, but maybe my first season in this role, if we would have run into really bad injury troubles.
Oh man, that would have been awesome. Yeah. Now, and if the guys aren't setting you up in the slot, you're on a plane home tomorrow, buddy.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to go down that route. It would be so weird. I mean, I'm out of shape. I couldn't really do it anymore. But secondly, it'd be really weird.
Well, it's like I just, being a player coach, for me, I don't know how you do it, because everything you'd preach, you would have to do on the ice. And it's like, sometimes a right winger gets back. It's just, it's not as fast back as maybe the centerman gets back, right?
No, I get it. It's a tough gig. My coach now, he did it in Milton Keynes for a year. And then when I hired him and I told him, you're not going to play, it took, for him too, it was a big decision. Like, okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm retired for sure. I told him, like, you never know, maybe you'll get in a game if we have injury trouble. But my goal was always not to have a player coach in Nottingham. I mean, you probably would agree that the game has evolved, and it's not.
You don't have time for that shit.
No, and it's not the right thing for the team. optics wise, I'm trying to recruit a guy and say this is a great place to play. Oh, who's your coach? Well, he's also your left winger, like that.
Oh yeah, especially like for me and you, and then the coach is a right winger, and you're like, oh, well, I guess we'll be on the third line. See you, Lordo. Yeah, I remember. No, I remember. Yeah, he was a right winger.
Yeah.
A lot of ice time there, Lordo. Way to go, buddy. No, but I'm really proud of you, man. And I think it's the perfect role for you. You're a people person. You built relationships with like everybody around the league. You knew the ins and outs of every team. And I was thinking, I'm like, how does this guy know so much about all these teams, and how does he know him, and how does he know him? But man, you fell into exactly what you should be doing, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, thanks. I appreciate it. But yeah, over the years, I got to, I think I am interested. I was interested at that time too, but over the years I got to meet people and know people, and
you seem like the type of guy I'd want to play for. So
thanks.
Yeah,
so next time your friends call about Cardiff, you send them my way.
Oh dear, geez. Well, I was supposed to own 2.3% of the Devils, and they took that away from me. So we'll see what Nottingham offers to just a podcaster here. But let me tell you, I am in contact with a lot of people.
I like it. I'll send you a proposal.
But no, like when you see like how Todd runs a team as a player, and then now you're doing it, I assume you probably learned a few things from him like I did, right?
Oh, for sure. I still talk to Todd, quite regularly. He helped me early on. For sure. I knew that when I took the job, there was some things that Cardiff did well that I wanted to do the same, do the same way in Nottingham, for sure.
Yeah, no, and I've heard you guys are doing well. So your coach there, is he not a Wally too?
He is a Wally too.
Yeah, because when I sometimes you gotta look on your phone here to figure out what my vision is coming up. And I went through all these old messages, and that guy actually wrote to me. This is the message I had. He was asking me about going to the UK and doing an MBA, and then I didn't look at Facebook Messenger ever. And then I wrote to him 3 months later saying oh, sorry, dude, I didn't see this. And he's like, yeah, all good. I've signed to go. I think it was Sheffield. I think he went to and did his school there, right?
He didn't, I don't think he did his school, but he went to Sheffield. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, he was asking me about the league and everything. And it's funny how all these players, it's just like this, hockey players all help each other. And if you ask a guy a question, they're going to tell you what it's like. And, I think it's great for teams like you and Cardiff that you don't need to hide about anything. I bet you there's some teams when they heard I was doing a podcast, they're like, oh dear, oh dear, I don't want them talking about us. But when you got no dirty laundry, then everybody can say whatever they want, right?
No, that's the thing. We try to be, I try to be straightforward with guys, and this is how it works here. I'm trying to be honest and transparent. I'm trying to be honest and I deal with guys and contract negotiation the way I would like to. If I was a player, I would like my GM and my director of hockey to deal with my contract. It's sometimes it's tough. I think the hardest thing for me is dealing with guys you have a relationship with. That's definitely harder. It's trickier. But yeah, I'm definitely learning and getting better with that. It's now my third time recruiting, so that experience helps for sure.
Well, I was just curious, so are you doing it like Todd does, where guys are signed and you don't tell anybody and then you release it one a week just to get all the juices flowing each week? Is that what you're doing?
Yes and no, it depends. I think Cardiff is very, very secretive with everything. Maybe we're not as secretive, but obviously there's a time and place to make announcement, I think.
And I'm not going to do it for you. But just whenever you guys are ready to announce it, I'll be here waiting.
You want a contract, Wally?
No, I just know some things that some people might not, and you're saying you're not secretive. I feel secretive. I haven't got it off my chest yet.
I think what you're talking about has been announced.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Announced. Unless you're talking about something else.
I don't know. I don't keep track of. I don't think I follow the Nottingham Panthers. Maybe I should. But what did you guys announce?
Well, a couple weeks ago, we announced Jeremy Welsh. Is
Oh,
that?
did you? Okay, I thought maybe it was still a big secret. But
No,
yeah,
no,
when okay, so it is out there. I didn't know
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
It
because he
was it
he
was
was
not.
a podder, right? So he was on the
Yes,
pod, and he actually got me hooked up with my sponsor, the Bayfield Brewing Company. So
nice.
cheers to you, Jeremy Welsh, and thank you very much. You made little boy's dreams come true of drinking beers in his shed for free.
So when you guys recorded, it was not announced. So he
Right.
asked me could I tell it on Wally's podcast, and I said, oh, I would love Wally to get
A
a
sound
scoop.
bite.
To get a scoop, but if you get a scoop without before our fans, before my social media team puts it on online, I don't think that would be
Okay,
fair.
no, I totally, and I respect all of that. That's completely your business and your brand. tried to stay out of it. I didn't keep
Yeah,
track of if you announced it, so
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
glad you did. But man, that kid can play. I don't know if you've seen him play, but like you got a good one there.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty happy. He played with the other Wall. He played with my coach in Charlotte, I think. Yeah, a long time ago. But we had our eye on Jeremy for the last few seasons, and didn't work out for some reason. Also because of the pandemic. But now it's actually time, and he's excited. He was all in. He really wants to come, and that's always nice. I don't mind trying to convince guy and make them understand that Nottingham is a good place to play but when you get someone that wants to come and is hungry to play, and that's always good.
Oh, 1,000%. It's like same as a player when say it's you calling, when you really want someone, you can feel it. You can tell talking to them on the phone that like they really want you as a player. They've seen you play, they know what you can do. And then there's guys that call you and you can just tell that they don't really give a shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But no, man, he'll be a player in that league. He's gonna score you guys some goals next year. So that's a good signing. Well done. And that's, I don't know, they call it like a chicklets bump. What are we gonna call like my podcast bump thing? Is that like a thing? All these active players coming on, man. I'm still in the game, baby.
Still in the game.
Yep, just like you. We're both still in the game. you just get paid for it.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time on it. Maybe too much, but hey.
Hey man, when I saw you hold that trophy and like what it must be like to go through to learn the ropes and to be so fresh and new at it, it's like my job in the real world. Like when I started, I really didn't know anything, and it takes a long time to learn something new. And then once you do learn it and you know what you're doing and you have confidence, it's way easier. But I'm sure like there were some days you were like, geez, am I doing this right?
Absolutely. We had a tough stretch in October of my first season, and I was wondering, what the hell am I like? Did I get this wrong? Completely wrong. You start to doubt yourself for sure. But it sounds cliche, but if you really trust the process and you stick to it, results are not maybe going to come your way every single time, but at some point, performance will start to bring results in. So definitely still got some learning to do, but I feel more confident in my abilities, and the way we structure and we prepare is definitely improved, I would say, over the last 18
Well,
months.
it sounds like you know what you're doing and you got the vision. Kind of like my vision with this, like it changes weekly what I want to do. But I'm gonna get away from the Cardiff Devils for a while because it's been pretty hot and heavy here for these 5 and 7 days. Maybe I'll need to get on some more Panthers now that we're
Yeah,
talking 2.3% since the Devils wouldn't do it.
yeah,
Just saying.
seriously.
If you guys need players, I'm in contact with them, and I know you guys do have a good setup there, and I know they'd be in good hands playing for you. Sorry, Cardiff. I know that I love you guys, but there's only so many jobs in Cardiff. Players need to play, right?
Mhm. So yeah, hook me up. We'll make a deal.
Okay, well, just I know which guys are the good guys and which guys are the bad guys, and I try to have on the good guys on the podcast, and you, sir, were one of them. So thank you very much for coming on,
You're welcome. Seriously, it was a blast.
man. And like I said, I'm very proud of you. And one thing I think of when I talk to you is at the start of the pandemic, taking the picture with my kids. Colby was wearing or holding up a German flag. Zoe's got a Welsh flag. I got a Canada flag. Lisa's got the American flag. And we took that picture of where we're all born. And then I talked to you, right? You got one kid now, which was born in England, right? And then you're French Canadian, your wife's Danish. And it just, we all live very interesting lives, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Completely never expected this to happen, but we're now a family here in England. Unique, it's definitely a unique situation, but love it.
So is she gonna learn French and Danish, or or is she gonna have a British accent? Like what are we doing here?
I think it's gonna be tough for us to get away from the British accent, even if it's gonna sound weird. But I speak to her, try to speak to her only in French. Stina speaks to her only in Danish.
Is that right?
Yeah, and she goes to nursery in English, so she surprisingly understands, a lot in 3 languages right now. She picks and chooses the words she used. Usually, right now, she uses the easy word, and in whatever language is the easiest. But we'll see how that goes in the next few years. But yeah, we're trying.
That's awesome, man. I think that's awesome for her life. And when I'd go to Europe and I'd see all the people that could speak like, say 4 or 5 languages, and you're like, how the hell does that even happen? But it happens by doing what you're doing.
Yeah. We're trying.
Well, that's awesome, man. You got anything for me before we shut her down?
I think you did a good job doing your homeworks there. You covered a lot.
Oh, buddy, I'm seasoned now. I'm almost at 50 episodes, man. But if you do 5 in a week, then they add up pretty quick.
Yeah. No, I think you covered pretty much. I mean, I'm glad you invited me. It was a blast. So thanks for that.
Well, dude, and it's like the guys that are still in the game, like we can have repeat potters. You're going to be building teams. You're going to be signing players. And if you need to bounce any ideas off me, I'm here. If you want to talk players, I'm here, but you got to come on the podcast and I get to hit record and then we can talk about whatever you want.
Yeah, deal. I agree. That's fine with me.
Because now, folks, I got it in with the Nottingham Panthers. I got the Devils. Sheffield, they've been blowing me off. I'm not sure why. I don't know why they won't talk to me, David. Just thought maybe you want to come on and talk hockey, but I guess not. And that has been another episode of 2 Ales and Hockey Tales with Deuce and Wally.